This is about the Sri Lanka's former Prime Minister, Mr. Ranil Wickremasinghe, who had entered the parliament today, and about the speech that he had made on the just after the oath taking. Let's look at this speech.
මට එකක් මතක් වුණා. ඔව් මේ ආණ්ඩුවෙන් බදු සහන දීලා තියෙනවා. ලොකු මිනිස්සුන්ට බදු සහන දුන්නා, පොඩි මිනිස්සුන්ට බඩගින්න දුන්නා. අද තියෙන තත්ත්වය මොකක්ද කියලා බලමු. මට අතීතය ගැන වැඩි කතා කරන්න ඕන නෑ 2019 මේ රටේ විදේශ විනිමය සංචතිය තිබුණේ ඩොලර් කෝටි 700. අද ඩොලර් කෝටි 400කට අඩු වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඊට අමතරව මට මතකයි අපේ උදේගමක් වෙලා ඇමතුමාගේ ප්‍රකාශය මම කියුවා තෙල් සංස්ථාවේ තියෙන ණය තෙල් සංස්ථාවට ඒ අවස්ථාව දුන්නේ ණය ගෙවන්න. මේ මුදල් වෙන දැනකට ගත්තා. එතනක් තියෙනවා කෝටි 300ක් විතර. මේකේ අපේ සංඛ්‍යා ලියකන වලට එන්නේ නැහැ. මේ දෙකම එකතු කරන්න. අනික බලන්න හදිසියෙ ගන්න තියෙන්නේ අපේ වාණිජ බැංකු. වාණිජ බැංකු වල අද ණය තියෙනවා. මේකක්වත් සංඛ්‍යා ලියකනේ නැහැ.
Here, Mr. Ranil Wickremasinghe says that the Sri Lanka's international foreign reserves particularly in US dollars and other currencies, more specifically US dollars, has declined from I think 7 billion few years back to 4 billion as at today. And this is, he says, this is the decline in the reserves of the government of Sri Lanka. But he also says that he quotes Sri Lanka's fuel minister, Mr. Udayagammapilla, who had mentioned that the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation's obligations or liabilities to overseas amounts to nearly 3 billion US dollars as at today. And also Mr. Ranil Wickremasinghe highlights that the Sri Lanka's state and the private commercial banks foreign liabilities overseas, which the country's government normally depends to borrow, had also gone tremendously high. So he says that not only the reserves of the country as calculated by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, but also the all three together, that is the Central Bank's calculation of the official reserves as $4 billion, and which is actually beyond the recognition of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation's liabilities or due payments, which is about 3 billion US dollars, and also which does not take into account the central bank's reserve calculations, the liabilities of the commercial banking sector to overseas banks. So Mr. Ranil Wickremasinghe says there is no combined statistical picture of the situation. Therefore, he says to take an integrated view of the asset and the reserves minus the liability situation. So this is wrong because our country's assets are actually the government of Sri Lanka's total whole integrated assets. But Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, the government strategy was to let it go alone. That is a different strategy because Ceylon Petroleum Corporation is a corporation and yet it comes as a different entity. So its liabilities of nearly 3 billion US dollars cannot be taken together with the reserves of the central bank. To say that the reserves will go down to $1 billion if both are taken together, that means 400 minus 300. And on the other hand, commercial banks are other entities. They are either private limited companies or public limited companies of the Colombo Stock Exchange, or they are government corporations. So like Bank of Ceylon and People's Trust. So they can't be all taken together as in autocratic country because we are a democratic country. So let them go alone. So Mr. Ranil Wickremasinghe's argument here points towards autocratic rule at this moment, and which is wrong and which we cannot accept because we know that the Trade Minister and Mr. Udayagammapilla, whom he quoted in his inaugural address, are both loyal members undercover to Mr. Ranil Wickremasinghe.